12 tips to get better at Fortnite competitive. If you are in game right now, make sure to put in code Aubrisk in the item shop, as it is the best way to support me. Subscribing to this channel is completely free and takes 1 second. Alright, let's get into it. So a little bonus tip before we get into it: make sure to put your view distance on epic if you are on low meshes and your trees aren't rendering properly. Make sure you are always increasing your knowledge of the game, as when you know more about the game, the less you'll panic and the less you'll fumble in endgame. Videos like this, watching VODs, and making sure you buy the solo masterclass using the affiliate link in the description below. Actually applying the tips you learn in game will make sure that your knowledge will increase every single day. Just remember that the smarter you are in game, the more equipped you are to play every single situation to its fullest extent. Make sure that you know how to use every single phasing trick during fights and endgame. This will boost your fighting skills like nothing else if you at least know about these moves and are able to use them consistently and effectively. So make sure that you know the Vidal ramp trick and cone trick, and every other variation of the cone phase trick. Make sure you know how to push a cone and ramp through while you're breaking the wall. Make sure you know how to pickaxe phase jump downwards. Also, that indestructible wall phase is incredibly useful during endgames when you're next to somebody in solos. You need to master your drop spot by making sure that you have a drop map, or you're creating your own drop map in arena or custom games. This way you will always be the first person to land, the person with the most potential loot and shield, and the person with the highest mat count at your drop spot. Make sure to watch other pro players play your drop spot and just replicate it. Replicate where they drop, replicate the loot path, replicate which builds they actually break in order to highest mat count the quickest. Just remember, focusing on the little things, especially during early game, will exponentially increase your chances of surviving and making it to end game every single time. If you're playing more confidently than your opponent during a fight, you have a much higher chance of winning that fight. However, make sure that you're not blinded by your own overconfidence during a fight. Otherwise, you will get pre-fired, you will get anger abused, you will more often than not find yourself in situations where you die from W keying. This is also a big problem for pro players. When they W key a lot, find themselves getting a lot of kills very quickly, their confidence skyrockets and they start making mistakes and die to their next W key situation. In taking fights during an end game or during mid game where there's a lot of players around, make sure to box yourself up before you pressure the wall. Make sure that you're using hard mats to do so. This way you are completely safe against sprayers. However, the better thing to do in this situation is position yourself opposite of where the sprayers are. So this means the opponent you're pushing is in between you and the sprayer. Think of it like an unplanned teaming situation. Just keep in mind that you don't want to be in between the potential third party and the player that you are actually pushing. You will get pinched. Always remember, if you have good enough loot, you are always able to disengage from fights. Disengaging fights is always the best situation when you have good loot and good movement ready for endgame. You'll get way more value if you disengage that fight and play the endgame than if you play out that fight, end up with way less shield, way less mats, way less movement, and still have to play out the end game. However, if you don't have good mats and you don't have good movement, you don't have good loot, make sure to fight until you have your win condition, which is good mats, good movement, and good shield. Don't be afraid to take fights if you aren't good on mats and shield, especially movement. If you have no movement, make sure to take as many fights as you can in the first 5 to 10 minutes of the game. This way you're not wasting your entire game by playing out an end game without any movement or mats. It's way better for you to take a fight and risk losing the fight in order to get a win condition, which is good movement and good guns, rather than you playing out a whole game with terrible mats, terrible shield, no movement whatsoever, and full grey guns. You're simply not going to get further than 50-50 zone in this situation. In solo cash cups, you should look to play out 5 to 6 solid end games where your chances of winning that end game are very high, which means you have your win condition. You should only play out 3 games per hour, which means if you die of spawn 3 times in a row, you should wait until the next hour starts. And all this means is that you'll be on the lowest elo possible, so the easiest lobbies, while still having the required time to play out all of your games. This and the previous tip don't really match though, because if you do die of spawn 3 times in a row, your cash cup strategy should change and you should just try to play out the maximum amount of games you can possibly play. When you're free building, make sure to incorporate practicing, reboxing and panic tarping, as these 2 mechanics are probably the most important mechanics in Fortnite competitive. If you can rebox faster than everybody else when you're getting pressured, you'll be faster than everybody else at popping shields. To practice L-shaped reboxing, changing directions during reboxing can misdirect your opponent and also gives you the highest amount of angles when it's time for you to start counter-aggressing. Find more right hand peaks when you do these L-shaped boxes when somebody is pushing your box. When you find yourself with a lot of mats during endgame, whether that's if you get a refresh or your teammate drops you way more mats than you thought he had, make sure you find an uncongested layer as soon as possible. Usually that's going upwards, but not in every situation up is good. Even better, take a quick second to look for height. Usually when you get a refresh, you should have more mats than a height player. Once you get height with a large amount of mats, it's a lot easier to win the game from that position. Whenever you find that you've got a large amount of mats after getting a refresh, instantly look for height or an uncongested layer. W key absolutely everybody you see, try and aim for getting those 20 bombs in solo arena and watch how your fighting in tournaments skyrockets after a long period of time. Tier 1 pros have either once in their career grinded solo arena or are grinding solo arena at this moment in time. Solo arena helps way more than you actually think it does. Solo arena helps every single aspect of fighting, absolutely every single aspect of fighting that you don't even think about, or need to think about, because solo arena will just do it for you. Malabuka, all he does is grind solo arena and scrims obviously, but he doesn't play any creative, no aim maps, no nothing. He literally just plays solo arena. If you have no movement to get to 50-50 zone or to get to first moving, make sure that you're looking to recycle a launch pad, as this is your best bet to win the game. And if you can't find this, make sure to late rotate and try and recycle other people's builds and other people's tarps. Playing like this will make sure that you will conserve all of your mats and shield in order for you to get a refresh during the later zones. To improve at solos, you must play solo scrims. Solo scrims are so incredible for improving your end games. Literally any solo scrims will help you improve your end games. It's better than no end game practice at all. If you're on EU and you're not in no rally solo customs, I would highly recommend that you try and get into there. Even better, try and get into the no zonal customs. 100 times better than this other one. If you are able to get into no rally, no zonal customs, play these 6 to 8 hours a day and you will become a professional player, no doubt about it. Getting your first earnings in solo customs after grinding these 6 hours a day will literally seem so easy at that point. Like, it's literally the best of the best practice in the entire game. No zonal customs, no rally, you can't get any better than that. Believe me, once I get into these customs, I'm not touching creative ever again, just arena and solo scrims. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Use my supporter creator code Aubrisk in the item shop, as it is the best way to support me. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, help me hit 10k subscribers. 2022 is going to be the year of Aubrisk. We are going to make it this year on YouTube and the rest of my goals. Keep grinding, lads. Keep believing in yourselves. As long as you believe in yourself, it really doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. And peace. See you next video.